Welcome to the ATL, y'all. Come along with me for an extended weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. There's so much that we squeezed into 2 full days there. In fact, you're going to want to make sure that you subscribe because there is going to be a part two without a doubt. So let's not waste any more time getting into it. I just landed at the airport and stepped off the tram that goes between terminals. And I've already got a driver en route to pick me up and head over to my hotel, which is downtown. But first, I needed to grab my check bag. And yeah, I know packing light is all the rage right now with all the storage cubes and etc. But, sometimes a girl just wants all of her things and to not have to worry about struggling to fit it all in. So, yes, for this 4 days trip, I checked my bag. And if you feel a way about it, put it in the comments, okay? But, one thing about it, I was annoyed because my driver was late. And for some reason, it felt like a really long day, although it was just a 2-hour flight. At any rate, we were thankful to arrive safely at the AC Hotel in downtown Atlanta, which I knew was going to be perfect walking distance to several of the things that were on our to-do list. And if you're interested in a tour of this hotel, wait until the end to see the video link, and also drop a guess about which performer you think was in town. Make sure to drop that in the comments below, okay? So, even though we were in walking distance to my favorite restaurant, my sister's flight was delayed, so we hopped into a pedicab to rush us over to the reservation. The pedicab was a real cute vibe, especially because all of them were bumping different Beyonce songs. It was really fun. But here we are pulling up at the Sweet Georgia's Juke joint. And y'all, it's the combination of crazy good music and good food for me. Like, it was just so lovely. I enjoyed it so much. And afterwards, we walked back over to our hotel. And again, it was a pretty easy walk, maybe about 12 minutes away. But then once we got to the room, we decided to go back out. So I did a quick shoe change because my sister found a hookah lounge that was just a little further of a walk, but it was definitely worth it. It had a real sexy ambiance and chill music. It was perfect. And then the next day, we took an Uber to the Vitamin Lady, a place my sister found on TikTok. Make sure to follow me there too. I just started that channel, by the way. So, at any rate, we wanted to take the Vitamin Ladies class related to diets for your blood type. And so we decided to verify our blood types first. It was just $25 and only the prick of a finger. And then we waited until the class started. Now, they don't actually allow recording of the class itself, and I understand and respect why. So, y'all, if you are in town, I definitely recommend this shop if you are into healthy and more holistic living, or if you're just trying to do better like me, okay? Afterwards, we realized we were in the legendary Sweet Auburn neighborhood. It's also known as the Old Fourth Ward. And we decided to take a stroll by Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is a historical landmark. And it's also where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. served as a co pastor. And it's now, again, preserved as a civil rights landmark.
Hmm.
And so we were checking out all the
Oh, it's
signage
supposed to be
and
those doors
saw
down
that we
there.
should have been able to go inside. And so we were trying to do our best to follow the instructions. But yeah, you'll see, we did not quite make it inside the sanctuary, but that was okay. It was still much more to see. And so, right next to this historic church is the memorial site for Dr. King and Coretta Scott King. And as you can see, there were many other groups visiting the site as we walked up. In fact, there was one group that was rejoicing in song, and they were also singing We Shall Overcome very loud. And if you are familiar at all with the civil rights movement, you know how in tune that song was for that era. And it definitely is an anthem that still resonates today. But the group sounded really beautiful. And even though I've visited Atlanta plenty of times, I actually hadn't been to this site since like the eighth grade. So it was pretty surreal to be back here. There is just so much power and still a restlessness that I feel here. And that restlessness is just a sentiment of there's just still so much work to be done, and that the fight for our civil rights and human rights still has to carry on. And that is just a very heavy feeling, to say the least. This memorial is along what's called the Freedom Walkway. And I am going to let you take it all in before we head over to the next spot. That next spot was just a few steps away because we decided to go inside the King Center
Yeah, that
and
was
its
good stuff.
Freedom Hall
That's kind of
Museum.
like cut out from the
Now, this
front.
part is actually a first for me, so I was glad it was open on the weekend and there was no admission fee at all, which is really great and makes it the perfect stop for any tourist or local or any group that wants to learn about not only one of the most prominent families in Georgia, but one of the most prominent families in the civil rights movement that
Yeah, that's a lot
impacted
of
the
great information.
world through their influence and
I said it's a
action.
lot of great
And so
information.
there is no reason to not come visit and to come pay respect to the legacy left by the King family. And y'all know I love music, or you may not know that, especially if you're new here, but I do love music. And so I saw that piano that
Yeah,
was a
don't be tripping because I
donated
got this
gift
water.
to the center. That was beautiful. And so I wanted to give you a peek inside, and I gotta tell you that they actually don't allow filming inside the museum areas. And so you saw that there's a nice photo opportunity in the lobby, and the museum itself is a really nice homage to the King family and their legacy. So, again, I highly recommend that everyone visit it at least once. And so afterwards, we wanted to walk over across the street to Dr. King's National Historic Park. And we followed a lovely couple over that way. And as we look ahead, you can see that there is a huge indoor visitor center. And I do recall visiting this site on that eighth grade trip.
Mhm. Yep.
So even though that trip was eons ago, a look around inside is still as deeply moving as it was then, the same was still felt today. And so it was nice to see some of these older exhibits that were still there and very well maintained. It was also nice to see some of the newer exhibits, like the area dedicated to the late President Jimmy Carter and the late Congressman John Lewis, who both have a rich history with Dr. King and the Civil Rights Movement. There's just so much history here. You could literally spend hours. Again, there's also no admission fee to this park area as well, which makes it another great stop for anyone visiting or living in Atlanta. And as we walk across the parkway, there is what's called the Peace Plaza. And there's a garden that is in honor of the I Have a Dream speech. It's also known as a World Peace Rose Garden, and it features inspirational messages from youth in Atlanta and from around the world. I believe they have a special ceremony each year to unveil new messages, which is really dope. And one thing looking back at this footage reminds me is just how beautiful it was to see all different types of people there showing appreciation and respect for the history that's there. It was really beautiful to see. And so by this point, we are waiting for our Uber to arrive. We actually decided that we would head over to the movie theater, which ended up being about 40 minutes away because we were specifically wanting to see 40 Acres, which, if you haven't seen that movie, by the time you watch this video, I'm sure it will no longer be in the theaters. But you have got to see that movie. It was really deep. The acting was great. It definitely leaves you with some food for thought. But yeah, we went to the movies. We also went to grab a bite to eat before going back to the hotel. And y'all, by that point, we were ultra tired, so I didn't even record anything in terms of the restaurant that we were at, but it was good. when I get a chance, I'll actually add the name to the screen if you're looking for a good recommendation in walking distance to the hotel. I had booked a reservation for us to go to relax and unwind in Johns Creek. And you're probably wondering why we went all the way out there, because it was another 45 minutes outside of the city. But one of my old coworkers owns a candle making shop, which is Rewax and Unwind. And it's only been open for a year or two. And I had told her back when she had the grand opening that I would support whenever I was back in town. And I'm a woman of my word. So my sister and I pulled up, and it was just such a fun vibe, like such a cute aesthetic. And although my sister is a pro at making candles, you can actually follow her on Instagram at Shay's the One. But it was my first time doing this type of class before. And I was a bit afraid because my nose is also ultra sensitive. So I did not know how I do with being around so much fragrance. But part of the good thing is that these are essential oils. So, not your typical out of the box fragrance that is mixed with a whole lot of chemicals. And I can appreciate the cute gold trays that they have, which really help to keep everything neat and avoids spills that go onto your clothes. And that's something you definitely wouldn't be happy about, dealing with oil and waxes. Now, something that you may be surprised by is that our class actually started at 9 p.m. Yes, 9 p.m. So, what I appreciated about the late start is that this setting felt more comfortable and more like a mood for me at this stage of my life, because I don't need to be out with the kids again, y'all. But I really love that they had options at all times of the day. They even do karaoke or trivia, depending on what the audience wants. They've also got different nights happening with couples and all types of really creative opportunities to um, have fun out with whomever you want to have fun with. And I am going to put my discount code for you in the comments below, because trust me, it's worth every dollar. And you're gonna want to go again after your first experience, because every experience can be different. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because there is so much more that we packed into this trip that the part 2 is still coming. So this was just part 1 for now. Again, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Happy wandering.